I went to over 100 card shops in Japan during my month in Japan, and no, that is not an exaggeration. I was mostly looking for Pokemon cards for my other channel, Dr. Pokemon, but I was having trouble finding shops that were both fairly priced and were accommodating to foreigners. I had places that absolutely felt like I did not belong because the staff were either ignoring me or would try to overcharge me. I decided to compile a list of my 3 favorite places throughout Japan and why I would recommend them out of the hundreds I went to. You can find some detailed videos of my experience at each shop on my channel, Dr. Pokemon, and in my vlogs. Before we get into this, my biggest suggestion is to stay away from Tokyo if you want to buy TCG. I know a lot of you probably think about Akihabara when it comes to anime and TCG, and the issue is that the stores there and throughout Tokyo know that. Most shops in Tokyo are going to have higher prices since so many tourists come through and might not venture to other areas, or might go to places like Kyoto or Osaka later in their trip. So they might not realize prices can be lower if they waited to buy outside of Tokyo. Lucky for you, you've got me. Akihabara is honestly one of the worst places to buy anything anime or TCG overall, but that's a video for another time. Before we get into the top 3 lists, let me know what videos about Japan you want to know. I'm thinking about doing videos on best anime shops, including places where I got Pokemon plushies for as low as $2, as well as topics such as best experiences and not so great experiences. You can also see more of my daily experiences in my vlogs from my whole month in Japan. One store that didn't make the top 3 but definitely deserves honorable mentions is Book Off. I love this shop for many reasons, and it's the only chain store that I recommend. The beauty of this chain is that you can find it anywhere in Japan. I went to at least 20 or 30 different locations throughout Japan, and let me tell you, it can be a little hit or miss. They have some decent deals on singles that I don't necessarily think are worth getting. The TCG products I recommend getting there is what I call the TCG bricks. The TCG brick is a collection of mostly bulk Japanese cards. However, they show you a couple of the cards on the sides. I have a couple that I still haven't opened right here, so it might be a little bit difficult to tell, but we do have some really nice cards. At the time, these cards were worth a decent amount. I don't know how much they're worth now. Now granted, these aren't gonna be the highest value cards that you're ever gonna buy. You're gonna notice most of this is, well, bulk. All of this is pretty much bulk, with only the front and back cards being worth something, most likely. However, if you take into consideration only these 2 cards right here for this bulk pack, you're honestly gonna notice that it's gonna be worth it. For example, at the time that I bought this brick right here, it was 200 yen, and 200 yen is probably around $1.50-ish, if even, and the 2 cards that we see here are worth more than $2 itself. So overall, you are gonna be making back your money if that's what you care most about. Now you might be thinking, why would I spend $2 or really $1.50 on a brick of cards that's mostly bulk with only 2 good cards? Well, the reason I like getting these were because I don't really have many Japanese Pokemon cards. So this was a great way to get a bunch of Pokemon cards and start filling up my binders pretty quickly. And I'm not gonna lie, the bulk in here is not like the bulk in America. If I was to buy one of those mystery packs in the US, they usually are bulk cards that really aren't worth anything and really are mostly modern day Pokemon cards. These bulk cards, on the other hand, were usually decent cards, and sometimes you'd actually get cards that were worth more in the middle than they are worth on the outside 2 cards. Now, the issue that I had with Book Off is that not every location has cards. So you actually have to go and see sometimes, so it can be a waste of time if you're making a special trip just to check if they have any. One of my favorite locations was in Nagoya and Okayama, which is where I bought most of mine. I bought this one in Nagoya, and I actually bought a way bigger brick in Okayama. In fact, I think I still have it somewhere around here, so I'm gonna go look for it. Well, luckily I do still have that other big brick. Here is the big one that was about 777 yen, or $5-ish, $4-ish. And as you can see, it has, and it might be a little hard to see, but it has a lot of really good cards on the sides and on the back. I mean, we have, just from looking at it, we have a Mewtwo, Ditto, we have Palkia, we have Charizard, Dragonite. We have a lot of really nice Pokemon cards that personally I don't own in Japanese, so it was worth it for me. All right, now let's get into the list of my top 3 shops. Now, these are single location shops owned by locals that I think are just really amazing shops. At number 3, I have TCG SHOP Bluve. This shop is located in Osaka. It's a small shop on the northern part of Osaka. I actually accidentally stumbled into this shop, but I am so happy that I did. I got there close to closing time, but the employees greeted me and they actually kept the shop open long enough for me to actually look around for a little bit longer. They have some really nice mystery packs that were really fun to open. There are a couple locals shopping that actually talked with me and told me which cards would go up in value and cheered me on as I opened my mystery packs. Overall, I really enjoyed my time at this shop. For number 2, I have UING Kumamoto, or playing Kumamoto. I'm not really sure how the translation works on that, but as you can probably guess, this shop is located in Kumamoto, Japan. This is a really special card shop for me. It was a card shop all the way in Kumamoto, which I feel like most people don't necessarily go check out when they go to Japan. I could give you a ton of reasons why you should go to Kumamoto, Japan, but that's a video for another day. The first thing that caught my eye when I entered this shop was the claw machine. I mean, generally I avoid claw and crane machines when I go to arcades, but this one was different. You can play the claw machine to win some beautiful cards, including the Absol, which I had won, and I will go ahead and tell you, this claw machine isn't rigged like most claw machines. I think every single person I see play this had won it. It's really weird. It's as if they want you to win and get cards and enjoy the game. Isn't that so strange? They also had some mystery packs that had some of my favorite Pokemon. They weren't nearly as big as these bulky ones right here, but they did have the really nice cards on both faces, which honestly was my main pull for any mystery pack was, hey, what card do we have on the front and back, or even just on the front, and is it something that I want or need? And I will say the main card I was looking for was Charizard, and luckily they had one that had a Charizard that I really wanted. They also have what I like to call the bargain bins, which are cards that are mostly 30 yen, 33 yen, somewhere around there, which is about 20 cents. And you might be thinking, well, these are gonna be bulk cards, each for 20 cents, probably worth a penny. Not necessarily. You can actually find a lot of really nice cards. I found Charizards that were worth up to $10 in there. Now granted, their condition isn't gonna be spectacular, but those Charizards are still worth $10 in not mint condition. So you could actually be making a decent amount of money if you just go into these bulk cards. They also had just a lot of random bulk cards, which are good for filling up your binder if that's something that you're trying to do, since they have pretty old cards in these bulk bins as well. They also had the latest Pokemon boosters, even though there was a Pokemon shortage at the time, so I was really happy that I could buy some and open them up right then and there. The staff though is what really pulled me in. They had a tournament going on, and at the time there were people from all over Japan coming to play, and the staff was really busy. But they made sure to take the time to talk to me and help me out. I especially want to give a shout out to my friend Kaido. He was an employee there and he actually wrote up a message in English and pretty much recited to me. He was saying how much he appreciated me coming to the store and that he hoped more people from around the world would come so that he could make new friends who also love Pokemon. I really love Kaido and his love for the game. I actually had him come out to dinner with us and he came back to our place to watch a movie. It was a really good day. Definitely a highlight of my trip to Japan. And then number 1 on the list, which I will probably mispronounce, but I'm gonna give it a shot, is Treka no Mori in Osaka. This shop is located in the American youth portion of Osaka, Amerikamura. This shop was a gem. It is newer with a very modern vibe. It has beautiful displays of singles, all reasonably priced. They had the bargain bins, which I rummaged through and bought a ton of Charizards. They also had a great supply of booster packs and booster boxes for every TCG. I actually ended up buying packs for Union Arena, which included Demon Slayer, Hunter x Hunter, One Piece, and I got some Pokemon. It was a great experience and the owner was amazing. I could see myself going to this shop every day if I lived in Japan and just hanging out, playing, opening packs. It was a lot of fun. I also wanted to give you some general advice when buying cards in Japan. I generally avoided big chains with the exception of Book Off. I found many of them to not treat foreigners as nicely and not be as willing to help. Prices also were not great, especially if you like to take the condition of the card into consideration. That brings me to my next point. Make sure you look at the card condition. At times where certain shops allowed locals to look at the condition before buying, but sometimes wouldn't let me. I also noticed many cards were priced based on the mint condition, but were nowhere near the mint condition. If a shop isn't letting you look at the condition or won't even take it out of the display before buying, I would recommend leaving ASAP. Also, keep in mind that many shops have multiples of each card, so you can ask to look at all of them and find the condition you want. Prices may or may not vary by condition when they have multiples of a single card, so it might be worth asking for a look. If you're thinking of buying TCG bricks, make sure you actually take into consideration the price, if that's what you care most about. Some of the chains that had bricks actually were charging way more than what it was worth, so I wouldn't assume every brick is a bargain. And if you end up going to any of the 3 shops that I listed above, please make sure to show them this video and tell them I said hi. I doubt they'll remember me, but I do want them to know how much I appreciated their shops and hospitality. And I want them to know that I wanted to spread the message about their location so more people will check them out.